So, this is actually a different type of video than I normally post as opposed to my usual live recordings of games that I'm playing. This is a post-recorded replay. And there's a method to my madness here. Uh, this game, or this clip rather, is not really that remarkable of a game. Uh, it ended up being a pretty decent game, but you know how players are. We started off really good, and then everyone else ended up throwing. You can see me alt tabbing right there, but uh, what I want to talk about here, and what I kind of want to demonstrate here, is fighting smoked up destroyers. And there's no matchmaking screen in this recording. I didn't think to bring it up when I recorded this clip, but there is an Akazuki here that is going to be contesting me, and he's going to be popping up pretty soon here. Uh, what I'm doing right here in this mode, right here, is I don't know what, if anything, is going to be contesting me. So what my goal for right now is I'm debating on whether or not I want to be aggressive and push this concealment ring of 5.8 kilometers. And if I'm debating I want to push that ring all the way to this edge of the cap here. So anything that tries to contest me will be spotted in return. Because I outspot two of the three destroyers in this game on the enemy team. There's an Akazuki, which I'm about to be contested by. The Kagero and the Skane end up being somewhere else, but that's not important. What is important right now is the Akazuki is going to be popping up very shortly here, and he is about to pop his smoke, and I will show you how to kind of pick apart these destroyers that are in smoke like this. So this Akazuki pops up, I outspot him, and right now, this mode that I'm in, you can see me talking some shit right there, but this mode that I'm about to be in is just, he's spotted, shoot him. Put as much lead as you possibly can into this Akazuki while he's spotted and while he's slowing down. And that's what I'm doing here. He's spotted, and here we go. Now this right here, he just went undetected. I'm now in last known position. This Akazuki is not capable of moving his ship fast enough from this point where he just was. He is not capable of moving his ship fast enough in any direction to not be right where he was last spotted. So these next few salvos that I'm about to fire are about to be at his last known position. And this is also very, very important here. I am not detected doing this because there's nothing else to spot me, because this Akazuki is in smoke, so he cannot spot me. And this Amagai, as far as I know, ends up being the only other ship up here. And he's way out of, well, not way out of range, but he's out of range enough that when my gun detection blooms, he's not capable of spotting me. So I am not detected while doing this. And this is a very important thing, because if you're detected and they're not, you are going to lose that trade, just period. No ifs, ands, or buts, unless you're just an absolute god at blind firing, or you have like hydro or radar support or something. You are not going to win that. So if this Amagai was closer, and he was spotting me, I wouldn't even be doing this. I would just either hit my smoke, or I would just angle away from the Akazuki and hit my heel, mitigate the damage a bit, and go from there. But since I'm not detected, I am able to shoot into the smoke. So this mode that I'm in right here is a little bit different than last known position. It's been a few seconds since this Akazuki was last spotted, and you can tell from the visual indicators, I'll get into that later, that he is reversing into his smoke, which I never recommend doing that. I don't know why so many people do that. Your ship is always going to move slower and take longer to reverse than it is to kind of inch forward and get another puff of smoke. But this guy is, even if he wasn't shooting, I would be okay. This guy just went undetected. It's been a few seconds, and my couple initial salvos are starting to miss. So, I'm going to assume that he's reversing, and I can tell, uh, based on the fact that I only got one hit there, but also these visual indicators of his shells coming out of the smoke, those are telling me exactly where he is. So, this salvo right here only scored one hit, which was probably on the bow. And these shells, I can tell by looking at them that this little section right here, in between the forward turrets and the rear turrets, is the most meaty part of the Akizuki, and that's the part I want to aim at. So, based on 99% of people will reverse in their smoke, I don't know why, they just kind of do. Uh, and also these visual indicators, I can tell exactly where this guy is. So I'm able to kind of get a pretty good idea. You see 5 hits right there, and it looks like he's starting to move forward, and I'm kind of adjusting my aim right there. And now, right here, is the final, I guess, mode of shooting at another destroyer that's in smoke, and it's basically in situations like this where you're not sure if he either reversed or he went forward. It's basically reconnaissance by gunfire, just laying as much lead into that smoke screen as I can until I get a hit. And then once I do get a hit, or I get another visual indicator, I'm just reconnaissance by gunfire at this point. And this Ama guy right here, you can see me kind of glancing his direction. There's the visual indicators, by the way. This Ama guy is pushing into me, and I am about to be detected. He's about to be close enough to spot me when I shoot. So you're going to see that I'm about to cease fire here. As soon as this guy gets that Ama guy gets a little bit closer, my gun range is 12.1 kilometers, and he just got target locked on. So if I shoot now, he will spot me. And here's another little trick that I usually do a lot of if I can. Sometimes you might not be able to, but sometimes if you're trying to blind fire someone in smoke and you have torpedoes out towards the smoke, you can shoot at whichever end of the smoke screen that you want the enemy destroyer to move away from. So I can tell by the visual indicators of his shells and his tracers from his turrets that he's on this little side of the smoke screen right there. I don't know if it's if my cursor's being caught by OBS here, but if it's not, it's on the right side of the smoke screen right here. You could just lay some lead into this section of the smoke, and this destroyer will look at that and be like, okay, this section is getting blind shot at. I'm going to move away from it to not get hit. And in doing so, in reversing away from my blind fire here, he's going to end up reversing directly into my torps here. And what's going to end up happening is this Miyoko and Bismarck are just kind of going to walk at him. And he's going to be reversing away from those. And that's kind of what ultimately puts him in the path of those torps. But that's just a little another little trick that I sometimes use. If you have torps out at a smoke screen, but you don't know if that destroyer is where you want him to be to eat those, you can lay some blind fire into a section where the torps aren't going to pass through, to kind of bait or goad him into moving away from your shells and end up going straight into your torps. So, and you can see I'm not shooting because I don't want to be spotted by this Ama guy. Because if I get spotted here, like, pretend this Miyoko and this Bismarck weren't here, or they were further back or something. If I get spotted trying to blind fire into that smoke, uh, this Akizuki would have a clear target lock on me, and I would then be at a disadvantage because he can see me and I can't see him. And no matter how good you are at blind firing, in that sort of scenario where they see you but you can't see them, you will always lose that trade no matter how good you are. So that's why I'm not shooting here. If this Alma guy was further back and I was still able to shoot undetected, I would be shooting. But since he's not, I'd be spotted, and I'm not shooting. That's pretty much it. So, that Miyoko and that Bismarck kind of ended up walking at the Akizuki. He reversed into the Torps. And that's just kind of a general tips video on fighting smoked up destroyers. In this specific scenario, I had a lot going in my favor, which was mainly the fact that I was able to fire the way I was without being detected. If you want to, you could pop your own smoke and try and blind fire him like that from your smoke. Just be careful of torps if those are a threat, which they usually will be when you're dealing with destroyers. But just also make sure you're wary of hydro and radar threats and that sort of thing. But basically, just the three kind of modes that you're going to be in when you're fighting a smoked up destroyer is last known position, which I demonstrated earlier. When the Akizuki popped up, he started slowing down and he was smoking up. I explained it earlier. He's not capable of moving fast enough to not be in that last known position as soon as he goes dark. You can fire a couple of salvos, depending on your reload. You can fire a few salvos into that last known position and get some pretty reliable hits. Then you've got reverse or forward, which you'll usually be able to tell if you're close enough. The little smoke screen indicator circles will usually give you a decent idea if he's reversing or not, or if he's going forward, and you can adjust your aim accordingly. Or visual indicators, which is stuff like shell trace, which is really mainly shell tracers, and seeing where his guns are firing from, and knowing if there is forward turrets or his back turrets. Like, pretend this Akizuki kind of reversed outward and ended up being bow on. Knowing if those are his front or his rear turrets would be helpful in kind of gauging to either aim ahead or behind of the shells. It'll be easier or harder to tell based on the specific destroyers. Like something like a Kid, if it's angled away from you, you can pretty easily tell based on the fact that it's 3 gun turrets there instead of 5, or if all 5 guns are firing, you can tell which one's the rear by looking at where the greater shell density is. But I'm not going to get too much into that. But that's pretty much it for this video. It's just a quick little tutorial video on fighting smoked up destroyers. And if you want to see a full commentary on this game, let me know, and I'll make one. Although there's not a whole lot to talk about. It does end up being a pretty decent game as far as I'm concerned, but we end up losing because, you know, people just insist on sitting broadside to Nelsons, Alsace, Venitos, Bismarcks, and Kagaros. But anyway, I'm not going to get too much into that. That's it for this little tutorial guide, tips and tricks video. Yeah, that's it. I will see you tomorrow.